I'm Kayla Foster, 32, an IT specialist in Miami. I gave my sister everything: my savings, my passwords, even my trust. When she couldn't pay rent, I bailed her out. When she needed a car, I co-signed the loan. I thought that's what family meant. But my world flipped the day my card got declined at a client lunch. Strange tax letters started piling up, claiming I owed money I'd never earned. That's when I uncovered the truth: my own sister had stolen my profile and used it to run a scam worth nearly $500,000. At our family dinner, I slid a folder of evidence across the table. Her grin faltered. I leaned in and said, "There's a rat in this house." She smirked back. "Then we should chase it out." I raised my phone to my ear, pretending to call. "Hello." 911. Her face drained of color. She dropped to her knees, begging. I smirked. "So, should we beat it or drive it out?" That night split my family apart. Her lies cut deeper than I ever imagined. How do you face someone you once loved? Who betrayed you like that? Where are you watching from? And has family ever stabbed you in the back? Drop it in the comments. Hit like if this hit you hard. And don't forget to subscribe for the next twist in this betrayal. Growing up in a modest house by Miami's coast, my sister and I were tight. Our parents, William and Denise, split when I was 12, and the divorce hit us hard. The house felt empty without Dad's booming laugh, and Mom's late shifts at the school left us alone most nights. I'd find my sister crying in her room, scared we'd lose everything. I'd hug her, promising we'd stick together. At 13, I taught her to ride a bike on the boardwalk, her wobbly balance making us both laugh until we collapsed in the sand. Those moments built a bond I thought would never break. By high school, I was the one keeping things together. I'd cook dinner when Mom worked late, help my sister with math homework, even check her essays for English class. She'd follow me around, her shy smile lighting up when I praised her work. But I started noticing her glances when I got accepted into college for computer science. She'd mutter about how easy I made things look, her tone sharp with something I didn't yet understand. I brushed it off, thinking it was just teenage moodiness. When I landed my first IT job after college, I was thrilled. At 24, I was troubleshooting networks for a Miami startup, earning enough to move out but still checking in on her. She struggled through community college, dropping out after a year. I'd drive her to job interviews, tweak her resume, even pay for her gas when she was broke. "You're the best," she'd say, but her eyes didn't always match her words. I'd catch her staring at my new apartment or my company laptop, her jaw tight. Once, she snapped, "Must be nice to have it all figured out." I laughed it off, but the sting lingered. Years later, she started pulling away. I'd call to check in, but she'd dodge, saying she was busy. When we did meet, she'd talk vaguely about new opportunities but never gave details. I didn't push. Family doesn't pry. Right, I kept helping. Though, when she lost her retail job, I sent her $3,000 for rent. When her old car broke down, I co-signed a loan for a new one. Each time, she promised to pay me back, and I'd wave it off. "That's what sisters do," I told her. But deep down, I felt her resentment growing, like a shadow creeping over our bond. Looking back, I missed the signs. Her comments about my job, my stability, always had an edge. She'd compare her dead-end gigs to my promotions, her voice bitter. I thought it was just frustration, not something darker. I'd built my career from late nights coding, fixing crashes, earning trust. She saw it as luck, not work. Once, at a family barbecue, she rolled her eyes when Mom praised my new contract, muttering, "Some people just get all the breaks." I let it slide, but it gnawed at me. Another time, she asked to borrow my laptop for a job application, her fingers lingering on it too long. I didn't question her then, but those moments were the first cracks in our trust. That resentment was the seed that would destroy us, but I was blind to it. All I knew was, I'd do anything for her, until the day I couldn't. As the years went on, my sister's career troubles started showing up more often. Leah bounced from one job to another, never lasting long. She'd call me late at night, voice shaky, saying she'd been let go again. First, it was the marketing gig at a small firm downtown. They cut staff during a merger. Then the social media role at a startup that went under. I'd listen, offer advice, but she'd always end up asking for help. One time, when her rent was due and she had nothing left in her account, I wired her $3,000 without a second thought. "I'll pay you back soon," she said, and I believed her. It was just what we did. Months later, her car broke down on the highway. She called me in tears, saying she couldn't get to interviews without wheels. I met her at the dealership, looked over the papers, and co-signed the loan for a used sedan. The dealer ran my credit, and it went through fine. Leah hugged me tight, promising it was temporary. But temporary turned into more requests. A few hundred for utilities here, another 1,000 for a certification course she never finished there. I didn't keep track. It was family, and I had the steady paycheck from my IT work to cover it. My days were filled with fixing servers and securing networks for clients, while she struggled to find her footing. Then, about 2 years ago, things shifted. Leah stopped calling for money. Instead, she showed up with gifts. For my birthday, she handed me a designer watch that must have cost a fortune. "Things are turning around," she said, her smile brighter than I'd seen in ages. Soon after, she moved into a sleek condo overlooking the Miami waterfront, the kind with ocean views and a pool. I visited once, and she gave me the tour, pointing out the granite counters and balcony. "New job perks," she explained vaguely. When I asked about her company, she waved it off as some fintech startup disrupting investments. I was happy for her after all those setbacks. She deserved it. Not long after, she surprised me with premium tickets to a Heat game. We sat courtside, and she ordered champagne like it was nothing. That's when I met Scott Brooks, her new boyfriend. He was in his mid-30s, charming but jobless, always talking about big plans. They'd met at a networking event, she said. From then on, Scott was around for our meetups. He'd join us for dinners, ordering expensive steaks and wine, while Leah picked up the tab. Their life seemed glamorous: weekend trips to the Keys, shopping sprees on Lincoln Road. She bought a Mercedes, sleek and black, parking it proudly outside her condo. "Finally, catching up to you," she joked once, but her eyes had an edge. I didn't question the change at first, but looking back, the signs were there. She'd asked to use my laptop during visits, saying hers was acting up. Once, she borrowed my keys to grab something from my car while I was in the shower. I thought nothing of it. She knew my passwords from years ago, when I'd helped her set up accounts for job hunts. Little did I know, those accesses were her entry point. She started small, testing a credit line here, a fake account there, using my info to build her scheme. Scott encouraged it, helping her navigate the details. Their luxury wasn't from hard work. It was from dipping into what wasn't theirs. By then, her requests stopped completely. She'd wave off my offers to help, saying she was on top now. But the shift felt off. Our dinners became her showing off new jewelry, stories of fancy nights out with Scott. I smiled through it, glad she was stable, but underneath, something nagged at me. Her success seemed too sudden, too perfect. I didn't know yet that it was built on my back. The truth hit me like a freight train during a client dinner at a downtown Miami restaurant. I was pitching a network upgrade to a big account, the kind that could secure my next promotion. When the check came, I handed over my card. Confident as always, the waiter returned. His face awkward. "It's been declined," he said quietly. My stomach dropped. I scrambled to pay cash, apologizing to the clients as their eyes narrowed with doubt. A declined card wasn't just embarrassing, it could tank my reputation in IT, where trust is everything. I drove home, my mind racing, and checked my account. The balance was fine. So, what went wrong? The next morning, I called my bank. After navigating their automated maze, a rep named Lisa explained my card was frozen due to suspicious activity. We flagged a $10,000 charge at a jewelry store in Key West. She said, I'd never been there. She listed more: a $5,000 boutique purchase, a $3,000 restaurant tab, all places I'd never visited. "Check your credit report," Lisa urged. "This looks like fraud." My hands shook as I pulled up my credit monitoring app. My score, once near perfect, had crashed 200 points. 6 new accounts credit cards. A loan. Even a car lease had been opened in my name over the past 18 months. I hadn't noticed because the charges started small, slipping under my radar while I was buried in work. Then the mail brought worse news. A thick envelope from the IRS claimed I owed $70,000 in taxes from businesses I'd never heard of: Coastal Wealth Solutions, Miami Investment Partners. My heart pounded. I'd never owned a business. Why was this happening? The IRS letter cited income of over $1 million. None of it mine. It took 18 months to surface because the charges were structured to avoid detection, small at first, then snowballing into a $500,000 scam. I spent hours on the phone, filing fraud claims with banks, my voice shaking as I explained I hadn't opened these accounts, desperate for answers. I contacted Paul Lang, a private investigator recommended by a colleague. His office was small, cluttered with files, but his sharp eyes gave me hope. I laid out everything: the declined card, the IRS notice, the fake accounts. Paul leaned back, studying me. "This kind of fraud needs personal details: social security number, passwords, life history. It's usually someone close." My chest tightened. I didn't want to believe it, but my sister had my keys, my passwords from years of helping her. Paul promised to dig deeper and call me soon. 3 days later, he had results. "I've got security footage from a bank in Coral Gables," he said, pulling up a video on his laptop. My breath caught as I watched my sister walk to the teller. Presenting an ID with my name, she withdrew $8,000 in cash, her smile calm as she pocketed the money. Another clip showed Scott, her boyfriend, at a different bank, signing papers for a loan under my name. Paul traced their IP addresses to her condo, linked to fake email accounts using my info. "They've been at this for a while," he said. "Small moves at first, testing the waters, then bigger scams." I sat there, stunned, staring at the footage. My sister, the one I'd bailed out, co-signed for, trusted with my life, had built her lavish world on my stolen identity. Scott was in on it, helping her cover the tracks. The evidence was undeniable, but my heart refused to accept it. How could she do this? I'd given her everything, and she'd taken more. I left Paul's office, clutching the evidence, knowing I had to face her soon. Sitting in Paul's office, I felt the weight of his evidence crushing me. My sister's betrayal wasn't just a hunch anymore. It was real, documented, undeniable. I needed to know the full scope. So I met Brenda Grant, a forensic accountant Paul recommended. Her office in downtown Miami was stark, filled with screens and spreadsheets. She pulled up a detailed money trail. "Your sister's scam totals $500,000, Brenda said, her voice steady. 40 victims invested, thinking they were backing legit businesses under your name. My stomach churned. A retired couple lost their savings. A single mom's college fund for her kid was gone. The business's Coastal Wealth Solutions, Miami investment partners were shells, funneling money to my sister's accounts. Brenda showed me bank records. My sister and Scott had wired $150,000 to offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands, structured in small batches to dodge reporting thresholds. This wasn't impulsive, Brenda said. It was calculated. She pointed to purchases: a $60,000 down payment on their condo, $20,000 in designer clothes, a leased Mercedes. My head spun. Every dollar was stolen, built on my stolen profile. Brenda warned I could face lawsuits from victims, even as a victim myself, unless I proved I wasn't involved. Next, I met Stephen Reed, a financial crimes lawyer. At his sleek office overlooking Biscayne Bay, he reviewed the evidence, his expression grim. This is serious fraud, identity theft. Wire fraud. Potential tax evasion, he said. You need to confront her, but don't expect her to confess easily. People like this double down. He advised filing an FTC report immediately to protect my credit and start a paper trail. He also suggested a police report to trigger an official investigation. You're not just saving yourself, Stephen added. You're protecting those victims. His words hit hard. I wasn't just fighting for me. I was fighting for them too. Stephen dug deeper, uncovering a pattern. My sister had scammed others before ex-boyfriends, old roommates' smaller cons, like unpaid loans or stolen credit card charges. Scott was her partner in crime, helping set up the fake businesses and move money offshore. He's not just a bystander, Stephen said. He's complicit. The revelation stung. My sister wasn't just betraying me. She'd been honing her deceit for years. And Scott was her enabler. I felt like I'd never known her at all. The emotional toll was crushing. I started seeing Vicky Brooks, a therapist a friend recommended, in her quiet office. I poured out my anger, my hurt, my disbelief. Betrayal like this shakes your core, Vicky said. Her voice calm. It's not just about the money, it's about losing who you thought she was. She helped me process the guilt I felt for not seeing it sooner. I'd been so busy with work, so trusting. I'd missed the red flags. Vicky urged me to focus on protecting myself now, not dwelling on what I'd missed. I took Stephen's advice and filed an FTC report online that night. It was straightforward but felt like a step toward reclaiming my life. The next day, I drove to the Miami police station and filed a fraud report. The officer, a woman named Anna Mitchell, took my statement seriously. We'll need all your evidence, she said, jotting notes. I handed over Paul's folder footage, bank records, IP traces. Anna promised to coordinate with federal agents, given the offshore transfers. This is big, she said. We'll move fast. Leaving the station, I felt a strange mix of relief and dread. The wheels were turning, but confronting my sister loomed ahead. Her lies had unraveled. But I wasn't ready for what her reaction would reveal about us, about the family I thought we were. The evidence folder burned in my hands as I walked into our usual Italian restaurant in Miami. Our weekly dinners had always been a ritual: same corner table, same waiter, same comfort. Tonight, that comfort was gone. I'd rehearsed every word, every move, knowing this confrontation would change everything. I sat down, the folder hidden in my bag, waiting for my sister and Scott. They arrived together, her in a designer dress, him in a tailored jacket, both radiating confidence. The waiter, Matthew, greeted us warmly, unaware of the storm brewing. I ordered water, my throat tight, while they chose wine. My sister chatted about a recent trip to the Bahamas, her voice light, as if nothing was wrong. Scott nodded along, tossing in comments about their next getaway. I let them talk, my pulse racing, until Matthew brought our appetizers. Then I pulled out the folder and slid it across the table. "We need to talk about this," I said. My voice steady despite the knot in my chest. Her eyes flicked to the folder, her smile faltering. Scott raised an eyebrow, leaning back. I opened it, revealing bank statements, security footage stills, and IP traces. "This is you. Withdrawing $8,000 with my name. This is Scott. Signing a loan under my profile. You built a $500,000 scam on my identity." Her face hardened, but she tried to laugh it off. "There's a rat in this house," I said, staring her down. She smirked, tossing her hair. "Then we should beat it and drive it out." I pulled out my phone, pretending to dial, "Hello. 911. Her smirk vanished. Her face went pale. She dropped to her knees, begging. "Kayla, please, don't do this." I smirked back. "So, should we beat it? Or drive it out?" Scott jumped in, his voice sharp. "You're blowing this out of proportion. It's not what it looks like." But I wasn't buying it. "The footage doesn't lie," I said, pointing to a still of him at the bank. "You helped her wire money to the Caymans, set up fake companies. You're in this together." His jaw clenched, but he didn't deny it. My sister's eyes darted between us, her hands trembling. "I didn't mean for it to go this far," she said, voice cracking. I was drowning. "Kayla, you had everything: job, success, stability. I had nothing." Her words cut deep, but I held my ground. "You think that justifies stealing my life? Hurting 40 people who trusted my name?" She flinched, tears welling up. "I was jealous," she admitted. "You made it look so easy, while I kept failing. I just wanted a piece of what you had." Scott tried to interrupt again, blaming me for pushing her into it. But I cut him off. "You enabled her. Scott, you knew exactly what you were doing." The restaurant buzzed around us, oblivious to our unraveling. Matthew approached, sensing tension, but I waved him off. "I've already filed reports," I said, voice cold. "The police have everything. You can come clean now, or face them later." My sister's tears fell, but they didn't move me. Scott's face darkened, muttering about fixing this. They stood abruptly, her grabbing her purse, him storming toward the door. "Don't run," I warned. "It'll only make it worse." She looked back, eyes pleading, but I didn't soften. The sister I knew was gone, replaced by someone who'd betrayed me for years. As they left, I sat alone, the folder open, knowing this was the end of us. After they stormed out of the restaurant, I sat alone, the weight of their betrayal settling in. The next morning, Anna Mitchell called from the Miami police station. "Your sister and Scott didn't show up to cooperate," she said. Her tone clipped. "They're on the move." My heart sank. Despite my warning, they'd chosen to run. Anna had already coordinated with the FBI, given the offshore transfers. "We've got an arrest warrant," she assured me. "They won't get far." 3 days later, my phone buzzed with her update. We caught them at Miami International Airport, trying to board a flight to Paris. Facial recognition flagged them, despite their attempt to use fake IDs. Leah had dyed her hair red. Scott shaved his beard, but it wasn't enough. Back in Miami, the legal process moved fast. Anna and the FBI built a tight case with Paul's evidence bank records, footage, IP traces. Leah and Scott faced multiple charges: identity theft, wire fraud, and tax evasion. Their lawyer pushed for a plea deal to avoid a trial. 6 weeks after the dinner, I sat in a federal courtroom, watching them plead guilty. Leah got 7 years in prison, Scott 5, with restitution ordered for the 40 victims. The judge's gavel fell like a final nail in our family's coffin. I didn't look at them as they were led away in handcuffs. There was no point. The sister I'd loved was gone. I told my parents, William and Denise, in person at their small condo in Coconut Grove. They sat in stunned silence as I explained the scam, showing them the evidence. Mom's hands shook, tears falling. "How could she do this to you?" she whispered. Dad stared at the floor, his voice low. "We should have seen her struggling." I didn't argue. They'd favored her for years. But this wasn't their fault. I left them with a therapist's contact, knowing they'd need help processing it. The fallout hit my career hard. Some clients pulled their accounts, spooked by the headlines linking my name to fraud. My boss, Brian Cole, stood by me, offering a leave of absence to rebuild. "Use this," he said. "Your story can help others." I took his advice, developing a seminar on identity protection, speaking at local tech meetups. Slowly, new clients came, drawn to my honesty. I landed a contract with a Miami startup, designing their cybersecurity system. It wasn't easy, but each project felt like a step toward recovery. Personally, I cut all ties. Leah tried calling from prison, but I blocked her number. Scott sent a letter, claiming he was sorry, but I shredded it. My parents begged me to visit her, saying she was changing, but I refused. I'd given her enough my money, my trust, my life. No more. I met Vanessa, a graphic designer, through a work friend. Her warmth and patience helped me heal, and we got engaged a year later. My small apartment became a home, filled with her sketches and our shared plans. The scam left scars. My credit took months to repair, with the FTC's help. A few victims sued me, but the cases were dismissed once my innocence was clear. Leah's condo was seized to pay restitution, her Mercedes repossessed. Scott's big plans crumbled in a cell. Their world fell apart, just as they'd tried to ruin mine. I didn't feel joy at their downfall, only relief. Looking back, I learned trust has limits. Even with family, blind loyalty can blind you to the truth. Justice, not revenge, brought me peace. The law held them accountable, letting me rebuild on my terms. My life isn't perfect, but it's mine, built from my own strength, not their lies.